It is said that desperate times call for desperate measures, but Richard Lee McNair took that to a level no one saw coming. Locked inside a high-security prison with no clear way out, McNair came up with a plan so bold, so bizarre, it stunned the entire country. McNair didn't dig tunnels or climb walls. Instead, he hid inside a mailbag and mailed himself to freedom. But who exactly was this man, and how did he pull off this incredible escape? Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the shocking true story of Richard Lee McNair, the man who didn't just think outside the box, he escaped inside one. The impossible escape. It all began in Altus, Oklahoma in 1958, a quiet American town where Richard Lee McNair was born into a seemingly typical family. From the outside, McNair was unremarkable, just another kid from a small town, polite, friendly, and unassuming. Yet beneath his calm exterior was a restless, thrill-seeking soul. As a young man, McNair joined the Air Force, serving honorably, but beneath this disciplined surface, trouble brewed quietly. After leaving military service, he struggled with finding excitement, and soon that struggle took a dark turn. On November 17, 1987, everything changed dramatically. During an attempted burglary in Minot, North Dakota, McNair panicked, fatally shooting one man and seriously injuring another. Captured quickly by the authorities, his life seemed destined for permanent incarceration. But prison could not contain McNair's yearning for freedom. His first daring escape attempt was shockingly simple. While handcuffed in a police station, he cleverly lubricated his hands with lip balm, slipping free effortlessly. He bolted into the night, experiencing the exhilaration of liberty, if only for moments. Authorities quickly recaptured him, but McNair's brief taste of freedom ignited an obsession that would dominate his thoughts. Behind bars again, McNair began meticulously planning another escape. Prison authorities, aware of his cunning, kept an especially close eye on him, assuming they could outsmart him. But they had grossly underestimated their inmates' patience and cunning. McNair spent hours carefully observing routines, taking notes, and waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity. The guards remained oblivious, unaware they were dealing with a man driven by an unstoppable desire to escape. Day by day, McNair honed his plan, leaving nothing to chance. Every night, he plotted silently, visualizing every detail of his next escape. Little did anyone suspect this quiet, seemingly compliant inmate was crafting one of the most audacious plans in prison history, setting the stage for an escape that would stun an entire nation. The Mailbag Mystery. April 5, 2006 appeared like any other day at the high-security United States Penitentiary in Pollock, Louisiana. Guards patrolled diligently, unaware they were about to witness history, and becoming unwitting accomplices to an escape so audacious it would baffle the entire world. Deep within the prison's bustling manufacturing unit, McNair worked quietly repairing mailbags for the U.S. Postal Service. Each stitch, each bag he handled, was another piece in his intricate escape plan. No guard suspected that a routine task could be weaponized into a daring breakout. After months of preparation, McNair spotted his chance. He calmly slipped into a carefully modified mailbag, adjusting his position to perfectly mimic a regular parcel. His heart pounding, McNair waited in near-total darkness as unsuspecting guards picked up his mailbag, loading it onto a truck bound outside the prison walls. Imagine that terrifying silence, trapped in darkness, every bump magnified into nerve-wracking suspense. McNair stayed frozen, acutely aware one sneeze or movement would expose him. Minutes felt like an eternity. Finally, after what seemed endless hours, the truck halted outside the prison walls. This was it, the decisive moment. Quietly, McNair sliced open the mailbag, emerging cautiously into daylight, his first breath of freedom electrifying. The audacity of his escape stunned authorities and captivated the nation. How could someone simply vanish from inside a prison, concealed within a mailbag? News of McNair's extraordinary breakout exploded across the media, making headlines nationwide. Authorities, shocked and embarrassed, initiated a massive manhunt, determined to recapture him swiftly. But McNair wasn't waiting around. With adrenaline surging, he disappeared into the shadows, quickly distancing himself from the prison. His escape wasn't just remarkable, it became legendary. America now had a new obsession: the daring fugitive Richard Lee McNair. But could he stay ahead of the nationwide search hot on his trail? The chase was on, and it promised to be thrilling, intense, and utterly unpredictable. Life on the run. Now on the run, McNair faced his greatest test yet, avoiding the massive nationwide manhunt. He knew the FBI, U.S. Marshals, and local authorities were desperate to find him, turning America into one giant trap. Every step outside was dangerous, every stranger's glance a potential threat. But Richard Lee McNair wasn't just any fugitive. He was resourceful, clever, and incredibly cautious. Using fake identities, he traveled quietly, carefully blending into each new community. He grew a beard, altered his appearance frequently, and always maintained a casual composure that allowed him to move around unnoticed. Astonishingly, during one close encounter, a Louisiana police officer stopped McNair while jogging, asking if he'd seen the escaped convict. With calm nerves, McNair smoothly talked his way out, casually joking with the officer and sending chills down America's spine when footage later surfaced. The nation was astonished. Could this fugitive really be so bold and composed? McNair's daring interactions with law enforcement became legendary, adding another fascinating layer to his incredible story. But the United States grew riskier each day. Realizing he needed safer territory, McNair headed north toward Canada, using trains, buses, and stolen vehicles to evade authorities. Canada offered expansive wilderness, countless small towns, and the chance to disappear indefinitely. Settling in British Columbia, he found work, made new friends, and adopted an entirely new identity, all while hiding a monumental secret. McNair wasn't just surviving, he was thriving, enjoying tourist spots, and even sending postcards back home, subtly taunting authorities. Yet beneath his calm facade, McNair was hyper-aware of his precarious situation. Any mistake could end everything in seconds. Sleep came uneasily, paranoia shadowed his every move, and each morning felt like another day borrowed against impossible odds. With a nationwide manhunt closing in, Richard Lee McNair lived every moment in suspenseful uncertainty. Could he truly outrun the inevitable forever, or was his extraordinary run finally nearing its dramatic conclusion? The hunt intensifies. As months dragged on without McNair's capture, frustration among law enforcement reached boiling point. The FBI intensified their search, working tirelessly day and night, determined to correct the embarrassing lapse that allowed a convicted murderer to vanish. Television broadcasts routinely featured McNair, alerting communities nationwide. The fugitive had become notorious, his face plastered everywhere, yet somehow always remaining elusive. Authorities felt mocked, haunted by near misses, each failed attempt amplifying their determination to apprehend him. Public fascination skyrocketed, transforming McNair into an infamous anti-hero. While millions anxiously watched the news for updates, law enforcement doubled down. Surveillance intensified, informants multiplied, and rewards ballooned into massive sums, anything to end the nightmare McNair had created. Authorities combed through McNair's past meticulously, speaking to family members, friends, former colleagues, anyone who could offer even a tiny clue. Every lead was chased aggressively, yet the fugitive consistently remained one step ahead, moving silently and unpredictably. But freedom was becoming increasingly exhausting. McNair's nerves wore thin under relentless pressure. Paranoia haunted his every move. Each siren triggered anxiety, each unexpected knock a potential arrest. Sleep was scarce, the stress immense. For McNair, the psychological toll mounted steadily, making each passing day harder to manage. The balance between freedom and survival grew precariously thin. In early 2007, authorities finally narrowed their search to Canada, meticulously piecing together fragments of McNair's movements. Police knew he was nearby, the net tightening slowly, carefully, ensuring he had no means of slipping away. McNair sensed this shift, becoming hyper-vigilant, fully aware the endgame was approaching. The fugitive who once mocked America's justice system now felt hunted, cornered by a relentless pursuit that refused to stop. Could he evade capture again, or was the legendary escapist finally out of moves? The answer came swiftly, dramatically, and unexpectedly. The final capture. On October 24, 2007, Richard Lee McNair's incredible run came crashing down in Campbellton, New Brunswick, Canada. For 18 nerve-wracking months, he had successfully evaded capture, yet in an instant, it all unraveled dramatically. On this seemingly ordinary day, McNair, now comfortable yet cautious, was driving a stolen van. Nearby, off-duty Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer Stéphane Gagnon noticed something unusual about McNair's behavior. Suspicion triggered, Gagnon discreetly followed, quickly alerting local police. Within minutes, patrol cars converged, cutting off every escape route. McNair found himself suddenly surrounded, trapped without warning. His heart raced, but he quickly recognized the hopelessness of resisting. Calmly and methodically, Richard Lee McNair surrendered. The nation exhaled in collective relief, astonished at his incredible run finally coming to an end. Yet even in the capture, McNair maintained his legendary composure, quietly accepting the reality of his situation. As news spread globally, authorities expressed shock, relief, and grudging admiration. His capture signaled the end of his unprecedented saga, marking him as one of America's most elusive fugitives ever apprehended. Returned immediately to the U.S. under heavy security, McNair faced stringent measures designed specifically to prevent future escapes. Authorities left nothing to chance. His extraordinary ability to evade had taught them painfully harsh lessons. Richard Lee McNair was sentenced to solitary confinement in ADX Florence, America's highest security federal prison, a grim fortress designed precisely for inmates like him, escape artists whose skills baffled traditional prisons. Here, his daily routine was rigidly controlled, freedom replaced by isolation and unyielding vigilance. So what incredible risks would you take for your freedom? Drop your answers in the comments, and remember to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with more jaw-dropping content.